Every day, you pass them on the highway. Parked at rest stops, sitting outside warehouses, lined up at truck stops before sunrise. Most people don't give them a second look. But some of those trucks, the ones with the big long cab behind the driver's seat, are worth more than a luxury home. Not the cargo, not the trailer, just the truck itself. $600,000. That's the price of this sleeper cab. And before you assume that number is some kind of mistake, consider what's actually inside it. A bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, a living room, a fully climate-controlled space that functions in the middle of a Canadian winter and in the middle of a Texas summer. For the driver behind the wheel, this isn't just a vehicle, it's where he lives. Not occasionally, not for a weekend trip. Some drivers spend weeks inside this truck without going home. Others spend months. For them, the hours spent inside this cab outnumber the hours spent inside their actual home. So when someone spends $600,000 on a truck, the question isn't whether that's a lot of money, because it obviously is. The real question is, what exactly are they getting for that money? And could you actually live in one full time? Most people assume a semi-truck is just an engine, a cab, and a trailer. That's true for a basic day cab, a truck designed to drive a route, drop a load, and come back home the same night. Those trucks start at around $150,000. Functional, practical, no frills. But a custom sleeper cab is a completely different product. It's two things built into one. It's a heavy-duty commercial truck capable of pulling 36 tons across the country, and it's a hand-built living space designed around the person who's going to spend months inside of it. That second part is where the money goes. Several companies specialize in building custom sleeper cabs, often tailoring each one to the owner's needs. Unlike mass-produced trucks, these sleepers are built around the owner's lifestyle, cargo type, and daily routine. Each unit is designed around the owner. The layout, the storage, the materials, the systems. A driver who hauls refrigerated loads across the northern states has different needs than one running flatbed through the southwest. The sleeper is built accordingly. The craftsmanship involved is closer to a custom cabinetry than automotive manufacturing. Hardwood panels, hand-stitched upholstery, custom electrical systems, built-in appliances. Some builds take months to complete. And then there's the truck itself. A top-spec Peterbilt, Kenworth, or Freightliner, which alone can cost $200,000 to $300,000 before a single modification is made. And the custom sleeper built on top of that, and $600,000 stops sounding unreasonable. It starts sounding like exactly what it is. Not a luxury purchase, a home. Step through the door at the back of the cab and the first thing that hits you is the headroom. You can stand up straight. It sounds like a small thing, but it isn't. In a standard sleeper, you're hunched over every time you move. In a custom build like this, the ceiling clears 6 feet, sometimes more. For a driver who spends 10 hours a day behind the wheel, being able to stand upright in his own space at the end of a shift is not a luxury, it's a necessity. The interior layouts vary by build, but the principle is the same across all of them. Every inch is used deliberately. There are no wasted corners. Along one wall, a seating area. Not a fold-out bench, an actual couch, sometimes with a table that folds out for meals or paperwork. Across from that, a flat-screen TV mounted flush to the wall. Below it, storage compartments. Above, overhead cabinets running the full length of the cab. The bed sits at the rear. Full size in most custom builds. Some drivers spec a queen. Underneath it, more storage, drawers built directly into the frame. What makes this different from an RV isn't just the size, it's the efficiency. An RV is designed for occasional use. A weekend, a vacation. This space is designed for someone who parks at a loading dock in Omaha on a Tuesday night and doesn't see a hotel room for 6 weeks. Federal hours of service regulations require drivers to take a mandatory 10-hour rest break after 11 hours of driving. That means every single day, this truck becomes a stationary living space for at least 10 hours. And loading delays, weather holds, dock queues that stretch for hours. Many drivers spend more time parked than actually moving. So this isn't just a truck with a bed in the back, it's an apartment that occasionally drives down the highway. Most people picture truck drivers living on gas station sandwiches and fast food. The reality is, inside a truck like this, it's completely different. Behind a cabinet panel that looks like it belongs in a studio apartment sits a full-size refrigerator. Next to it, a microwave, an induction cooktop, and a small sink with running water. A driver can wake up at 6 in the morning in a rest stop outside Denver, make coffee, cook some eggs, and eat breakfast at his own table without stepping outside, without spending money, and without waiting in line at a truck stop diner. That matters more than it sounds. A single meal at a truck stop in the US costs between $12 and $18 on average. 3 meals a day, 5 days a week, adds up to over $1,000 a month in food alone. A driver who cooks his own meals cuts that number dramatically. Over a full year on the road, the kitchen inside the truck pays for itself. But cost is only part of the equation. Drivers who spend months away from home often struggle with eating well on the road. Truck stop food is heavy, expensive, and repetitive. The ability to actually cook meals, real meals, to control what goes into your body has a direct effect on energy levels, sleep quality, and long-term health. For a driver running 500 miles a day, 6 days a week, that's no small thing. This kitchen, though, doesn't just replace truck stops. It replaces one of the biggest sources of stress in a life spent entirely on the road. Every time people see a sleeper cab this size, they ask the same question: what about the bathroom? It's the first thing that comes to mind when someone realizes a driver lives in this truck for months at a time. And it's a fair question, really, because everything else, the bed, the kitchen, the television, all makes sense in a small space. A bathroom feels almost impossible, but it isn't. Many custom sleepers at this price point include a full wet bath with a shower and a toilet. Behind a narrow door at the rear of the sleeper sits a wet bath. Compact, but complete. A toilet, a sink, a shower head mounted above the floor that doubles as a shower pan. The same design used on sailboats and high-end RVs. Every inch serving double duty. Think about what this truck is carrying right now. A bedroom, a kitchen, a fully functional bathroom, all inside a vehicle that'll be doing 65 miles an hour down the interstate in the morning. The engineering required to make all of that work reliably, day after day, season after season, across hundreds of thousands of miles, is what most people never consider when they see the $600,000 price tag. But having a bathroom and a kitchen creates another problem entirely. All these systems need power. So how does everything stay running? The answer is the APU, or the Auxiliary Power Unit. It's a separate small diesel engine about the size of a large toolbox mounted to the frame of the truck. It runs independently from the main engine, burns a fraction of the fuel, typically around 0.2 gallons per hour, and it powers everything. The climate control system, the electrical, the refrigerator, the water heater, all of it. Systems like Rigmaster and Thermo King are names every experienced driver knows, not because they're exciting technology, but because a failed APU on a July night in Phoenix or a January night in Minnesota turns a comfortable living space into an uninhabitable metal box within an hour. Off-grid systems inside this truck aren't optional extras. They're the reason the truck works as home at all. The off-grid systems exist for one reason above anything else, so the driver can sleep. And not just sleep. Sleep through conditions that would make the same night unbearable in a tent, dangerous in a standard vehicle, and deeply uncomfortable in a basic sleeper cab. Outside, minus 40 degrees Celsius, a frozen rest stop somewhere in northern Canada, wind cutting across an empty parking lot with nothing to stop it. Inside, 20 degrees Celsius, dark, quiet, the bunk heater running silently on 0.2 gallons of diesel per hour, maintaining a comfortable sleeping temperature regardless of what the thermometer reads outside. That contrast between what's happening outside the windows and what the driver experiences inside is one of the most underappreciated engineering achievements in a truck like this. The walls of a custom sleeper are insulated far beyond what a standard cab requires. Thermal panels, double glazed windows, door seals designed to eliminate drafts completely, blackout curtains that block both light and cold. Reliability isn't a feature in a truck like this, it's the entire point. Because when your bedroom is parked on a highway in the middle of nowhere, there's no calling the front desk, there's no spare room down the hall. There's only what's working and what isn't. A $600,000 sleeper cab solves a lot of problems, but it doesn't solve all of them. The drivers who spend months inside these trucks aren't just managing logistics. They're managing something harder to measure, something no amount of engineering or custom cabinetry can fully address: distance from home. A long-haul driver running coast to coast might leave on a Monday and might not return for 6 weeks. In that time, a lot happens. A kid's birthday, a school play, an anniversary dinner, family illnesses, events that exist only as a phone call or a video chat from a parking lot somewhere in Nebraska. Loneliness is one of the most commonly cited challenges among long-haul drivers. Not loneliness in the dramatic sense, it's the quiet kind. The kind that builds slowly over weeks of solo driving through empty landscapes with only the radio for company. So after everything, the kitchen, the bathroom, the off-grid systems, the climate control, the hand-built interior, the question that's been sitting in the background the entire time finally needs an answer. Is it worth it? For most people, $600,000 for a truck is an absurd number. A house in most parts of the country, a retirement fund, a number that requires no further discussion. But most people don't live in their truck. For a driver who spends more time inside this truck than inside his own home, the $600,000 isn't paying for transportation. It's paying for quality of life, the ability to sleep properly, to eat well, to shower every day, to have a space that feels like somewhere worth coming back to after 10 hours behind the wheel. A standard sleeper gets the job done. It moves the driver from one load to the next. It provides a place to sleep and not much else. A $600,000 custom sleeper does something different. It makes the road livable. Not just for a week, not just for a month, but for years. For an entire career spent moving freight across the continent, waking up in a different state or province every morning and calling a 40-foot truck home. So what do you think? Could you live in one of these for an entire month? For most people watching this, the honest answer is probably not. The space is small, the life is isolating, the trade-offs are real. But for the drivers who choose this life, and choose is the right word, because nobody is forced into a $600,000 truck, it isn't a compromise. It's exactly what they wanted. Drop your answer in the comments. Could you do a full month inside the sleeper? If this video gave you a new perspective on what life on the road actually looked like, please hit the like button. It helps more people find my channel. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you down the road.